Hello, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome into a totally mid-12 noon, middle of the day, no clouds, no juicy lighting, Atlanta, Georgia, in an Airbus A321. Good to see everybody here. We are back in the Fenix 321, the big boy today. We're in the 319 yesterday. Had a lot of fun on that approach. We definitely made some mistakes, but we still greased her on. And we were semi-legal, a lot more legal than everybody that was slewing down to land on the runway, like Slew Stavo. But today's going to be a fun one, y'all. I just finished up, as you know, last week I was flying a lot of 321 flying. Just worked out that way. I was flying 321 stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna jot down. I'm gonna take some notes. I'm gonna keep my notes for the perf data, the weights, and everything. Just kind of compare to the sim. This is something that I've done back way in the X-Plane 11 days when the Tolas first came out. I made some videos like takeoff tests and all that, and that's what we got today. So for today's stream, I wanted to do two, but it's just the way the routes work out. I don't think we'll have time for the second leg to San Antonio. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna load up a heavy 321 Atlanta to Vegas. We're going to divert halfway there because we're not going to fly 4 hours all the way to Vegas. We're going to divert in a DFW. Totally, you think Atlanta airport is mid. Just wait till you see the default Adobo DFW. It's atrocious. I may just Alt F4 instead of landing. But the main point is to see the weights. I want to talk a little bit about the flex numbers and the EFB, what's happening with those EFB numbers, what's happening with, oh boy. Hey, Mike P, the $20 bank angle check. My man, thanks so much for the $20 bank angle check. Appreciate you. Appreciate you sharing the wealth, my man. Glad to hear that you won some money out there in Lost Wages, Nevada. I was just out there myself. So pretty cool, man. Thanks so much for the support. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week as we get kicked off here on this Monday morning, Monday afternoon. And I'm a little upset. When did everything start closing on Mondays? Like, I went to go to the milk tea place. They were closed on Monday. That's okay, weird. And then I go to my local coffee shop place. They're closed on Monday. It's like, what's going on? Is this like a post-COVID thing where nobody is open on Mondays anymore? Like, what's up with that? Or is it just now affecting me and now that's why it's bothering me? So I had to walk all the way down. I went down to the old Starbucks, got myself a pumpkin cream cold brew. I couldn't do the pumpkin spice latte because it's still about 127 degrees outside. But I do have the pumpkin cream cold brew, and that's going to accompany us today. But what I was saying, the EFB numbers, I'm going to compare the EFB numbers to the SimBrief numbers, which, spoiler alert, the SimBrief numbers seem to jive very, very closely with what we use for our perf numbers. And then I'm going to show you guys the real world perf numbers, and we'll match it up as close as we can. And then we're going to see how the airplane behaves, look at the EPRs, we're going to look at the fuel flows, we'll look at the climb rate, and then we'll continue on. So basically, I want to do, today's the heavy version. We're doing heavy operations. And then I have another takeoff data set that I took in a really, really lightly loaded 321 with only 60 people on board. It was actually a Dallas to San Antonio flight. And I was pretty impressed with the performance numbers. So I want to kind of compare the Fenix 321 both on the heavy side and on the light side. I don't know how much, if we'll have enough time to do both of those. We shall see. So anyway, it's only 92. I know, Al W. Here's the thing. Actually, I'm actually this morning, man, it's beautiful. If it's not 90 before 9, things are, I mean, that's fall for me, man. So I think it was what? It was like 84, 85 degrees by 9 o'clock, 88 degrees or something where I live by 9 a.m., which is good. We're below 90 by 9. If you're below 90 by 9, things are looking up. So you're right, Al. It's not that hot, but I did have to walk all the way down there, and I was just mad. I wanted my milk tea. Anyway, what's the fix for the DFW diversion? Oh, you're talking to someone else. Anyway, SimBrief numbers are closer to our real numbers as well. Matt Presley, for you too? Yeah, so I'm curious about that, and we'll look at that again. And like I said, we're going to continue on about all those numbers. So first and foremost, though, let's go ahead and hop in the airplane. We'll get her all loaded up. GSX is dead to me, so we got an American 321 with sharklets next door. That's pretty cool. This is the Imagine Sim. I bought it. I ended up buying it before the stream because I guess I didn't have it. I had the default, which I didn't love. This is the Imagine Sim Atlanta. Much better than the default one, I think. Much better than the default one. But one thing I don't like is my FSLTL traffic giving me a bunch of 320 Neos and random airplanes, so I might have to change that. Ooh, looks like another 321 over there with sharklets. Sharklets win. So Anyway, reset the camera. Let's get in the airplane. We're going to look at the weights. We're going to compare the weights. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Okay, there we go. We'll compare the weights, and it'll be a fun one. So who's ready? Oh, I got to put the gear lever down. I got to put the engine masters off. I had everything jacked up here because I was trying to set up some bindings. All right, Sloth, who asked about the Moza base? So I have a big update for the Moza base, some software stuff that I'm working on, and I'm working on the base. So I actually am not running the Moza today because I'm building a base for it, and there was a big, like a software and firmware update that I just got just before the stream went live. I'm like, I can't mess with this now. So I threw my Bruner back on just for today's flight, and then once I get the software and everything updated on the Moza base, we'll be back on that. And I think it's a good thing too, because I don't just want to have one product, right? And say, especially when you start talking about getting hardware that's $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9,000 plus. Like, I don't just want to have one and say, yeah, this is the answer. I'm not being paid to say anything. I'm just, they sent me a loaner unit and I want to give my honest opinion. So I think it's good that I actually bounce back so I can kind of remember what the other base felt like too. So, but yeah, there will be more Moza stuff coming very, very soon. I'm excited about that. And I am working on a different mounting solution because it's just, like I said, if you go with the Moza AB9 route, which I believe is the future, you need to figure out how you're going to mount this sucker lower than on your desk. Because if you try to put it on top of your desk, you're going to be reaching up at shoulder height to grab your side stick. That's how tall it is. So, but I'm very excited about it, and I'm very excited about the new firmware stuff that dropped today. So probably if I can get it running after today's stream, we might even give it a little peek tomorrow and see what it looks like. So, all right. The TCA pack my girlfriend or sister will bring over. I thought about shipping my rudders over from Singapore, but they weigh too much, so TFRPs for the 777 it is. Nice. Nice, Infian. All right. Make sure you delete the default Adobo. Yeah, I did, Ronald James. I did. Thanks, man. It actually, the performance is pretty good. And I'll be completely honest, as mid as the airport is here, I mean, this is such a mid time to look at sceneries. It's not the worst I've seen. I mean, I think it's a little heavily priced. It's like, what, $25 or something? Maybe just because of the sheer size of this airport. You know, they obviously spent a lot of time. But it's funny, I was looking back through my emails, and I was like, man, I swear I bought Imagine Sim Atlanta. It was from like 2010. I bought their FSX scenery. So I clicked the download link, and I downloaded it, and I go to install it, and it's for FSX. And yeah, so that didn't work. So I had to pick it up for Microsoft Flight Sim. Like, this is actually pretty decent texturing, weathering here. This is not bad by any means. Got some base gate stuff modeled, but it's a huge airport, so maybe that, you know, justifies the price. It is a lot of time getting everything set up. So anyway, I just think for when sceneries eclipse the $20 mark, daggone, they better be really detailed and really well performing, because $20 for an airport, you got to be, you know, like I said, it better be really well done and optimized and all of the above. So Atlanta isn't the most exciting airport anyway. Buckeye Fly, you are absolutely right. It's probably one of the least exciting airports in the country, if I'm being completely honest with you. And one of my least favorite, becoming one of my least favorite airports just because of the logistics in the airport, terminal to terminal, my experience with trying to get coffees and all that. Anyway, the handcrafted one is nicer than this. Zippy, for real? So I just wasted $20? Dang it. Should have just installed the handcrafted one. Oh, well. Here we go. You know anything about their shipping? Slothies, I don't know anything about shipping yet. Keep in mind, you know, I have a very early version before the mass release, so there's a lot of updates coming, firmwares and softwares that I'm trying to keep up with, so I'm kind of waiting for everything to catch up before I do more content on it. But as far as shipping and anything, I do not know. The only thing I know about shipping, I guess I do know something, is it was packaged very, very well. When it was shipped to me, it came very quickly through DHL, I believe. It came very fast, packaged very well, and you know, it's very well protected, and it shouldn't be damaged. I mean, they'd have to really try to damage it. I was impressed with the physical shipping aspect of it, but that's all I know about that, man. Mateo Chewy, good to see you. Welcome into the stream. Mateo Chewy, good to see you, man. Out there cooking all those juicy steaks on the Discord. All right, let's fire it up, chat. Let's go to work. Battery 1, battery 2. I really want to try Pero again because I watched a video last night of a Pero landing of a female captain in training. I guess it was 2 years ago, and I actually learned a couple of different things. They fly the approach with everything off, with all the flight directors off, which is what we did the first time when we nailed it. I knew I shouldn't have done that RNAV approach. That RNAV approach in the Pero was actually a cloud clearance approach to get you below the clouds, and then you would do a company circle as directed per your company charts. Now, I do have some charts circa like 2002 that I took pictures of that we used before. So we might have to revisit Pero. Maybe we got to revisit it in the 727. What do y'all think? You think we could take a 727 in there, flaps 40? Whoo, buddy. Could be fun. Chris Stuper, good to see you, man. Welcome on board, my friend. May I ask, do you feel the Fenix planes still float a lot on flare? No, I do not. Especially the 321. It flares itself on final. I flare at 30, idle at 20. Raytan, I do not feel that they float a lot. Now, you got to remember, the 321 does land pretty nicely. You're coming in flatter because you got the double slotted flap for tail strike avoidance, so your pitch angle is a little bit different. You just get a little bit of flare and just let her settle on down. Like, it does not fall. I mean, it can fall out of the sky, don't get me wrong, but it is not the trickiest of the three to land smooth, maybe that's the way to put it. So if I had to rank them easiest to hardest, the easiest one to land is probably a 320 Neo. The hardest one to land is a 319 light. A light 319 is very challenging to get a smooth landing on without it just falling out of the sky. A heavy 319 is harder than a 320 Neo, but not as hard as a light 319. It's kind of in the middle. And a 321 it's kind of right there in between the 320 and the 319 on as far as the easier side. It's a little bit easier than a 320, but it's a little harder than a 320, but not as hard as a 19. So, and it's as long as you have good energy management in the 321, it lands really well. I mean, it really does. You just come down, just add a little bit of backstick, let her settle on down. It's when your energy management or you're in really gusty, windy conditions that you can get in a bad spot on that 321. Because if you get in a position where you're low energy and you got to remember that tail strike, 9.5 degrees, right? So if you get low energy, you can't pitch up to arrest the descent rate. So you're either going to plant it or you're going to go around. So you really want to time it right as far as energy is concerned. But if you're on speed, everything is good, she's not that challenging to bring down. All right, crew supply, ground control, CVR test. And let's go up to the overhead. I'll put that in captain. 1, 2, and 3. We'll go here. That looks good. Strobe, auto, nav, 1. Arm you. Put you as auto. Arm the emergency exit lights. Come up here, do a quick fire test. Number 2. Fubar, that makes you feel better. My 319 landings haven't been up to my standards. Hey, don't feel bad, man. Trust me, it's a different airplane. And I said it before. I said, Fenix has done a great job of capturing this aircraft and how it is different than the other two. So don't let it go to your head, man. No sim sound. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. You don't have sim sound because I have it muted, actually. That's on me. All right, flight number today, we're American 357. You should have sim sounds now. Cost index, we're going to do this proper off the paperwork. I'm going to get this thing loaded up, and then we'll go over the numbers in comparison. So let me get everything loaded first. We're going to do 27. Now remember, this is a flight plan to Vegas. We're not going to go all the way there because it's going to be a long one. So our cruise was 34,000 feet. That's what we had planned. We had a 27 cost index. We were plus 10, so it would actually be minus 31 at the top altitude there. The tropo was, why is that bold? Did it already save it? No, tropo was 43,700. And the ground temp is 31C, which is perfect. We're going to go real weather because the real weather is almost the exact same as when I took down these numbers in the real aircraft. Christian Adrian Ionscu's in the house. My man, good to see you, dude. How you doing, Christy? I cannot, for the love of God, butter a 319. Well, let me introduce you to my 2 for 2. I think we can say we buttered both of them so far, right? We've had 2 319 landings. Key West, it was a butter for Key West. That was textbook. Between the numbers and the 1,000-footers, I'd say that's considered textbook butter. And even though we were not technically legal in Pero yesterday, That's pretty dang smooth. I think we were actually smoother in Peril than we were in Key West. But after seeing that real-world video of them landing in Peril, I really want to try it again. So maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll double up. We'll do an extra special juice stream. I don't know. Hey, Slew Stavos here, just passing by to receive unfair hate. And here's the gentleman that put one into a mountain in Colombia and then slewed his way down into Peril yesterday. My man, good to see you, dude. Slew Stavo himself. What is Tropopause? Tropopause. All right. For departure, we're going to do the same exact runway that we did in real life. 8 right. We're on the NASA 2 departure, going out to y'all transition. We'll insert that all the way out down to Lost Wages, Nevada. We'll go arrival. We're going to do ILS. We're not going to do this in real life. We'll just put it here for the sim purposes. We can compare fuel this way too. ILS Zulu 26 left, and we came down the Rounders. No, the Rockstar. Rockstar 3, haha, transition. Insert that. That looks good. RadNav page, nothing to hard tune. Secondary. We'll do a secondary Atlanta. Now, if we pop one here out of Atlanta, we are going to be really heavy overweight for our return, so we'll keep that in mind. Let's just do it. Secondary arrival. We'll come back to the longest possible. Runway 37, which is 9er left. The ILS is in op in real life on 9er left in Atlanta per the NOTAM, so I'm just going to put in just some nonsense here. We're not going to be coming around on this stream. At least I hope. I wonder if I probably should turn failures back on, huh? QNH is 3024. 3024. That looks good. Progress page, we'll put ATL. Perf data, we're going to leave you right there because we have to do some stuff. So, this is where it's going to get a little bit different than what we normally do. We're going to do some comparison here. I'm going to make sure I get these numbers as close as I can. Smooth Ops. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the 36 months of support. 3 years. How time flies by. Thanks for taking the time to make a great streams. They're informative, instructional, and sometimes humorous. Hey, Smooth Ops, appreciate the 36 months of support, man. Really appreciate that. I try to do it all, man. I try to be a little edutainment. We got to have laughs. We had some laughs yesterday, man. We can't always be serious and trying to be professional pilots on here all the time. We got to just, sometimes, we just got to sit back and watch people fly it into a mountain in Colombia. Airport that's rated for an ATR, taking a 7.2 in there. What could go wrong, right? Smooth Ops, thanks for the support. Aero Maze, welcome to Private Pilot, man. Glad to have you on board. Okay, today's office pool is slew count in the conga line. yeah, for sure. Are we sim CEO to real world? No, Al, this is the same on same here. CEO, IAE, IAE. So let's look at these numbers. I want to load 226, 2200, 38,000. I'm going to load instant because we might modify here. So aircraft loaded, dismiss. Okay, so I don't know. This is showing out of the CG range, but we're going to leave that for now. So I'm going to compare, and then I'm going to pop them up on screen. We had a 0 fuel weight. Where is my numbers now? An actual... Hold on, let me get the right set of data. This is the one that was super light. Don't want that. All right, we had an actual 0 fuel of 150.6. Oh my gosh, that's bang on. 150.6 checks. We had a CG of 23.3. So that's different. It's probably just the type of the airplane, how it's loaded. I calculated, so that's a little bit off. That's why that CG is showing aft. That's all right. We're going to go with it, though. So 8 right. So now we're going to go to perf data. And actually, before we do that, let's go back to, let's send this to the McDo. So we'll send these numbers to the McDo. 150.6, 18.6, 38.0. Fuel is on board. Let's go ahead and juice it up. 38,000 pounds of fuel. When I saw that, I looked at the FO. I was like, man, we're flying for too long. We got 38,000 pounds of fuel in here. Probably force it to aft cargo. Can I adjust that? Gus, can I adjust where I send that to? I'm not sure. Why are we not aligned? I guess we got to do this. I align on ref. Let's go ahead and confirm. Send you in there. Zippy says 13 months of good times calling pans and maydays. Yeah, the pan specialist. Zippy, good to see you, man. Yeah, Zippy also lost all LNAV yesterday going into Para, which is always exciting. Thanks again for the support, Zippy, man. Appreciate you. All right. 188. Let me look at perf here. Okay, so Force it to aft. Maybe on McDo. I don't remember seeing the option. Yeah, I don't think there's an option when you edit this McDo, Gustavo. I don't think you can tell it which, because I looked at that earlier. Config, PAX cargo. Yeah, it just has cargo. So it's a little bit off, but that's okay. It's not, I don't think, we're looking at engine performance is really what we're looking at. You can, but not when it's a sim brief. Well, I tried without sim brief too, Zippy, and when I adjust the slider, it was only one slider for cargo. It's okay, we'll be fine. Oh, I just dropped my paperwork, hold on. We're looking more for engine performance on this one. So let's do takeoff numbers. So we'll see what this gives us, and then we're going to compare, and then we're going to do Navigraph. Or not Navigraph, SimBrief. We're going to do optimum. We're going to sync the final load sheet. We're going off 8 right. We're going to sync the live weather. Now, let me just show you the weather that we had. It's within the margin of error. So the weather that we had in real life, it was 3024. OAT was 28C, so it was only 2 degrees off. And the winds were, where's the winds on here? 100 at 8. So it's only 30 degree off. So I would definitely consider that in the margin of error. We don't even have, with live weather, we're pretty much good to go. So I'm not going to change the weather. We'll keep it live. And I just want to see what kind of numbers we get from this EFB. So this is giving us a flap 2 takeoff, flex of 44, 54, 61, 62. Okay. I'm going to change this to what our configurations was. Force Toga, yes. PAX, we're off. Force Toga, no. But flaps 1 plus F. Let's recalculate. Let's see what numbers we get. Still gives us 54, 61, 64 at flap 1. Our numbers per real life were 151, 154, 159, and I'm going to show you all these numbers here. So we're going to pop these up on the screen. I'm going to move the screen over. So you can see I've got the actual weights and takeoff numbers that we're looking at for 8 right. I also have the SimBrief calculated numbers here. So the calculated SimBrief numbers, let me pull them up so I can read them. That's the only one I don't have here. So SimBrief has given us 45, 54, 57. Look how close the SimBrief numbers are to our real world numbers. It's the same VR, just 2 knots off and maybe 6 knots off on that V1. Now, what's interesting is the V1 number is much lower on SimBrief. Oh, I'm sorry, it's much lower on SimBrief compared to ours is 151. Now, could that be, you know, have something to do with maybe the altimeter being off? Well, the altimeter was exactly the same. Temperature, I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, that's pretty darn close when you look at that. Takeoff weight, 150, what is it saying for takeoff weight? No, 182. 182.9 is the takeoff, and we took off 188.2. We actually, by the time we hit the runway, yeah, we were 188. Yeah, 188.1. So, pretty darn close. So I'm going to run SimBrief numbers with the airplane. So let's come back down here, and let me put in, and actually, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to put the real world numbers in. I'm going to put the actual real world numbers in. So 8 right was a PAX off flex of 41, and we're going to talk about that here next. So first and foremost, 151, 154, 159. Transition altitude is 18. Let's see, we do have a special 2026 is thrust reduction for engine out, and 2026 around. I think I can change this in the EFB. I just haven't done it yet. So we do 2026, 2026 for both. And we are flaps 1, and it says flex of 41. real world. Now, can anybody spot a problem with this again? This is what we've talked about before. Now, this is an interesting data set because our numbers say packs off flex of 41. So it's determined our takeoff data with a packs off and a flex of 41 has determined that it is still, it needs more than packs on flex. But it doesn't want to go straight to a Toga takeoff because it knows how much a Toga takeoff affects the airplane in maintenance costs and wear on the engines doing a Toga takeoff. So it does everything it can to limit you from doing a Toga. So instead it says, hey, we can get you off with a flex of 41 and a packs off takeoff. Get rid of the bleed pressure. We can do it with packs off flexing of 41. The only problem is our OAT is 31 degrees. So we are 10 degrees of OAT. So we are now going to have to force a Toga with this takeoff. And that's exactly what we did in real life. So we're going to do a Toga takeoff. We're going to leave the flex number in there. We're going to show you that Toga is always available. So we're going to leave the flex of 41 in there. But we're going to do a Toga takeoff. And our trim value was, what was it? It was up 2.0. So I'll make everybody happy. I'll put 2.0 there. In the trim, although it does absolutely nothing for you, just so you know. But to make all the YouTube pilots happy, we'll put up 2.0 on the THS. Cool. All right. So our numbers are exactly the numbers that we had in the real airplane. And then once we start up here, we'll verify the weights for our takeoff weight. We'll make sure we're still within the realm of realism. And let's go ahead and fire up the APU and get this sucker out of here. So it should be pretty cool to compare this. I also have some fuel flow numbers, and I also have EPR numbers, and I also want to talk about the sounds as well on this takeoff. So APU is coming up. Let's go. Bill's Mafia, thank you for the $5 super chat. Hey, Bill's Mafia, man, appreciate the $5 super chat. Just finished my first solo. Hey, Bill's Mafia, that is so cool, man. Congratulations on your first solo. And are you hooked? Are you going to be hooked now? Are you going to be flying? Is this going to be the next path for you? Very cool, man. Thanks for sharing that. Hope you had a good time. Hope it was a good experience. Probably better than watching Aaron Rodgers beat the Buffalo Bills 2 times this year. So Toga with packs on and off. We're going to do a Toga packs off. That's what we did in the real airplane. You didn't use your smart aleck YouTube comment voice for this. Sorry, Fubar. I'm just in a good mood today, man. I'm just feeling friendly, my man. You know. All right, let's hit the chrono. That's coming up. We don't have many FCU working. Let's just set our top altitude 340. Looks like center just pinged us. We'll give them a call. So we have an ACARS. Oh, we got a PDC. Destination Atlanta. NASA 2, y'all. Blah blah blah. It's all there. 340. Squawk 7227. We'll throw that down here. 7227, we're just ready to push, so let's go ahead and turn you on. 7227 in the squawk code, and maintain 10,000 feet on the initial climb. We'll maintain 10,000. 10,000 is set. Departure is 3347. That doesn't make sense because there's no 3347 online, but we'll contact 3297 for taxi. So 3297 for taxi out. We're going to go ahead and push back and get everything up and running. 3297 is up on 1. Beautiful.
Correction, Air Canada 1748, right turn heading 300.
Right heading 330.
All right, we'll turn him way down for now. All right. Let's clear these messages out. All right, so we are going to be looking, as far as EPRs are concerned, 1.6 on the EPR takeoff. Spicy. Spicy. All right, we'll simulate that's 3 minutes. Man, it's a long stream. We'll go ahead and turn that off. APU bleed is on. Let's go ahead and disconnect everything from the aircraft. Get on our way here. Got to get out in front of all
25,
these people
44,
pushing.
Out of 24-3 descending 13,000 with the weather knock.
25, 44,
What's up with that purple livery? That's interesting. That's a very interesting paint job we have over there. Look at all these sharklets. I feel less than. I don't have sharklets like everybody else. All right, before start checklist. Beacon's coming on. We're idle. That's on. Let's go ahead and get the cams on. Ba-ba-da-ba. Connect, tug, start. We're going straight back. Before start checklist. Windows, doors, slides, closing arm, beacon on, thrust levers idle, parking brake is off. Before start checklist is complete. We're standing by for push. I thought your fave was a CFM. No, Hextopes. No. I loathe CFM engines. Here's a silly question, but I'm curious. Can you visors in the ground, or are they only allowed to cruise? You can use the regular sun visor. This one on the ground, absolutely. Normally I don't, though, unless I'm taking off or landing directly into the sun. I'll put it down. I like to be looking out the window. That's why I have sunglasses on. Now, the pull-down visors on the window shades, they are supposed to be up for takeoff and landing. I take that back. They are supposed to be up for ground operations because they don't want you masking the taxi, or you run a winglet into somebody. So everything up for taxi, but once you go airborne, you can pull down those visors. The yellow ones.
Atlanta Center, hello, American from Fort Worth.
Push back at a 45. Now, one thing about this Imagine Sim that's interesting is getting a little bit of a stutter even. That's crazy. Between like switching camera views. All right. Tires disconnected. Brakes are set. Let's go ahead and spin them up. Ignition mode to ignition start. Here we go. Everyone, listen to a real engine start now. Real engine start. I'm going to turn up the sim. Shh, shh, shh.
Cross 100, 13,250 knots and 2025. Air Canada 185. 33025. Air Canada 185.
Level 393, turn left at a 180.
Turn 180, 393.
Level 393, cruising level 6. Record 2544, quick right to NP.
Now that, ladies and gentlemen,
American 2544.
is an amazing engine start. I really dig the missing texture livery. This kind of reminds me of Condor. That's Condor's new livery right there. Good start on 1. Wait for the veil. There's the veil. Let's go ahead and turn 2. We're heavy. We're doing a 2-engine taxi. Just like I did in real life. I said, hey, we're going to be too heavy. Let's get both engines running. You like that, Dan? The pink livery is chef's kiss. Here you go, AJ. No soy drink today, baby. Straight cold brew, pumpkin cream. How do you determine which weight is too heavy? VA Beach Pod, that's a great question. Honestly, it really just comes from experience. Now, in a 321, anything over the landing weight, the max landing weight, depending on where I am taxiing, I'm going to strongly consider a 2-engine taxi. If let's see, like Tampa, there's some hills. Vegas, depending on which direction you're going, there's some hills. I might single-engine taxi for going downhill. If you're over, like, I'd say it's just ballpark. Every situation is situational, right? But if you're over the max landing weight, I start to consider the 2-engine taxi as kind of right out of the gate. If I'm 180,000 pounds, or like we are on this one, we are 188. Yeah, we're going 2-engine taxi on that. So, can it do it single engine? You betcha, especially if it's flat. But if it's a short taxi and there's not a huge benefit, then it's better than just blowing everybody behind us, phrasing, with one engine at like 50% on the ground trying to get where you need to go. So, but that's just a rule of thumb for you. All right, we got 2 good starts. That's there. That's armed. Flaps 2. APU bleed is coming off. We will turn the APU bleed on for takeoff because we're doing a packs off takeoff. Ground spoilers are armed. Everything looks good. Let's do a flight control check here. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral. We're up 2.0 on the trim. 2.0 on the trim. Auto brakes max. Takeoff config checked. That's coming on. Auto. TARA. Let's get out of here, chat. Atlanta departure 8 is Victor.
American 714.
Ay. Who is that? Is that Infian Ewok? Dude, why is your mic always so loud, Infian? I swear.
Taxi runway 8 right via Foxtrot 1 Hotel, American 714.
Center, just by the micro taxi.
I went with the Phoenix numbers the other day. A 321 took off the end of the runway. Anything more but an overrun. Yes, Isaac Johnson. So if you just tuned in, long story short, comparing real-world 321 takeoff data, the closest representative is SimBrief. Use the SimBrief numbers. Atlanta Center, American 357 just pushed off Tango 10 with Victor taxi.
Number 587 Mike, Park.
Oh, it's not you? Okay, sorry. Being slandered unfairly. Sorry, Infield. My bad.
Yeah, but we're on the airport. It's going to be on the northwest. 587 Mike, Roger, runway 23, taxi Alpha, Tri-Cities, altimeter 3029.
Gosh, look at that wing is so juice.
587. Sorry, who's that calling for taxi?
It's American 357 off Tango 10, Atlanta with Victor.
357, next Victor, runway 8 right, taxi Foxtrot 1 and Hotel.
Fox 1 Hotel 8 right, American 357. All right, chat, let's go. Taxi lights coming on, a brakes released, outside view for juice. A little bit of breakaway thrust here.
So 393 to wind 0707 right now. 8 left in the line, so crush it. 2 right. No, I'm right. 8 left, because I'm sorry about that. 8 left, 393.
Is the sim too loud for you right now?
4038.
Let me know if the sim is too loud. I'll turn it back down.
Mike, 1423. 587 Mike, Roger. The wind variable at 3 on departure.
Jeremy, that's a good question. Let's take a look. That's what we want to verify. Our takeoff weight, 188.4. What did I say we were? Our takeoff weight was 188.2. 188.2 was the real world takeoff weight calculation. We are 188.4. So we are 200 pounds within limits. Basically right at the real world data. What was our max takeoff restriction? Max takeoff was 189.1. So we are below our max. That's where your gross weight comparison comes in. You're verifying paper to glass. And 189 is our max. We're 188.4. So we're below max, over planned, but we're looking good.
American 9790, ready for taxi at Charlotte.
American 9790, Atlanta Center, runway 36 center, taxi on Mike.
Look at that. A little bit of breakaway dust, and she's just cruising down the taxiway. Perfect. I love Phoenix has got the ground handling going with this one. The ground friction feels good. It just feels good. Fox 1 Hotel. Which one is it? Fox 1 is over here, right? Gosh, I don't remember.
So With American 99 land center up, Herschel, runway 8 right clear for takeoff.
Runway
Just
8
go
right
over
clear
here.
for takeoff, American 989.
He just 38 is going to attend 3,000 field, call it your...
The struggles of using real-world performance is we have no light goal for Toga. That's true. But hey,
38, clear vision approach.
instead of a light goal today, how about we all
Clear
just,
visual 8 left,
out of a
clear
kindness of our hearts, we'll smash that like button.
393 Hotel,
Let's get as many likes as possible before takeoff for comparing real-world data. If you like seeing real-world data comparisons, hit the like button, because then I'll keep making more mental notes. I'll keep jotting it down. So here we go. I got some more notes that I wrote down on takeoff with a no Toga takeoff. We're looking at one. We actually hit 1.64, 1.634 EPR.
5 left, clear to line, American 2544.
And then I have some climb and fuel flow checks as well that we'll hit. In real life, we rotated almost right. There's an uphill slope right there, just a little one, and that's pretty much where we rotated in real life. The climb rate I saw in excess of despite being heavy, I saw in excess of 3,000 feet per minute on that initial segment, or I guess it would be the second segment climb. And then once we leveled off, it got real, between 800 and 1,200.
Right turn 090 direct income 57.
I'll drop this to remind me to turn the AP bleed on before we cross the runway.
Left turn.
What is that? That livery behind us? I think some Asian area. It looks like one I saw when we flew to China.
Here kind of 1742 reduce to 250 now. Kind of 1742, just cross Andre and maintain 13000 250 knots, still out on altimeter 3025.
I'll let that Andre, maintain 13000 and 2250.
You know what's crazy? Our CG. Oh yeah, that's right. That was right. 2.0 on the CG.
American 357, runway 9, pressure 8 right line, point traffic crossing downfield.
8 right, a lot of Boyd, American 357. All right, line up and wait.
393, cross runway 8 right on Charlie.
All right, APU bleed is coming on. I'll get rid of
Clear to cross 8 right. Charlie,
that.
contact Moran, Novello,
Let's go ahead and line up and wait. You could hear the packs cut out there for momentarily there where the APU bleed takes priority. All right, lights are coming on. Line up and wait. I did a professional lineup as well. We'll try to do a professional lineup here.
Radar contact the altitude.
Passing 2,400, American 989.
American 999, roger, climbing 10-14,000.
Climbing 10-14,000, American 989.
All right, so let's see if we can get a good lineup here. Keep that speed down. I won't be going too fast in this 90. All right, so we're looking out the right-hand side. It's harder this direction. One. Oh, no, it's click and drag bug. 1, 2 stripes, and 3 stripes off the shoulder. Start cranking it around. Give yourself a little bit of juice.
Division 6 Alpha Charlie, it's going to be the 5th to arrival at the line altimeter 3025.
I want to be just to the right of those lights. That's pretty dang good. So we are set up to come right down. Yep. Oh, I could have gone a little further actually, but that's close enough. Yeah, I should have pulled up a little bit further.
American 357, Alpha Herschel, runway 8 from right, clear for takeoff.
RNF Herschel, runway 8 right, clear for takeoff. American 357. Pretty dang close. All right, lights are coming on, packs are on. Here we go. Remember, chat, we're going to do this all inside. 50, 1.05.
Flight level 340, American 989.
Brakes released. Going all the way to Toga. Man, Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. Hear the phase out of the engines. 1.62 on the EPRs. That's within 0.1. Very good. That engine sound just like that in real life too. I didn't even know that. Thrust set. Work out that forward pressure. 100 knots, neutral. 1.623 on the EPR on the left. Beautiful. Fuel flows of 12,000. We had 13. It's 12.8. That's pretty much spot on. V1, rotate. Right where we rotate in real life. Wow, that's crazy. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav. Looking at the climb rate. Remember I said I saw in excess of 3,000 feet per minute?
Right, full length, got the front nose still.
Look at that. Even in a heavy 321 with packs off. Second segment climb. Look at that. 3,500 feet per minute. Looking good. We're man Toga SRS. Passing 2,000 for 10,000. American 357. Climb to 14,000. American 357. All right, there's our acceleration. Thrust climb. Climb auto thrust. Now we're going to start to see the dog rates. 14 is blue. He gave us climb and maintain. We'll pull for open. We're thrust climb. Open climb nav. Fuel flow 8,000. We were at 8,400. Well, watch this. I might just turn the autopilot on so we can. I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn the autopilot on early just so we can watch the data on this.
We'll take your ILS 24.
All right, so we're thrust climb, open climb nav, autopilot 1. Looks like it's a little bit choppy. 8,100 versus my 84, 8,300. Looking good.
For now, at pulse discretion, it's going to hit 5,000.
Now look at that 800 to 1,200 in the climb here as we accelerate. This is another one. This is so spot on. Look at our S-speed. We had to wait for auto retract because we're so heavy. Auto retract. Our S-speed is not till what, 217? So auto retract. The slats are in. There's our S-speed. Now we'll go flaps 0, get the slats in. Look at the VLS come up to bite you. Guys, that is, I cannot tell you how close that is to real life.
25, 44 at 5 right.
Right in that margin there, that VLS.
25, 44, text to the ramp, that's pulse discretion.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and kill the bleed. We're clean wing after takeoff checklist. APU's coming down. I mean, that was pretty darn cool. So the only, I'm going to turn the sim down a little bit now. So not too loud. So the only trend I noticed, and this could be, you could chalk it up to every engine's different, every airplane's different. The day is not exactly the same. The only slight trend I see is that the Fenix engines are just a hair lower on the I mean, like, we're talking 0.01, and just they burn just a hair less fuel than what I saw on this takeoff data set. Now, I have another takeoff data set.
Alaskan 377 at north end of ramp 5, ready for taxi with information Victor.
Just blew my ears out. So, I just lost he just literally rattled my brain. My brain has just got fried. Basically, it's real life, y'all. I mean, we're talking about comparing a $40 321 or what was 40 plus 40, right? $80, was that for us? Who was that for? Direct Nassau maintained 10,000 now, American 357. All right, direct Nassau insert. He gave us 10,000, so we're going to stop the climb at 10,000 blue. Freaking Infi and Ewok just blew our ears out again with his radios. But for $80, you're getting an airplane that is within single-digit percentage points reacting the same way as a $90+ million jet. Okay? Just let that sink in for a little bit. The numbers that you see, these VLSs that you see come up and bite you, like, these are not bugs. These are continue climb 14,000, American 357. These are not just features. These are legitimately simulated, deeply simulated features of the real airplane. It's just so cool to see, man. So cool. 1.63 EPR just after rotation. I mean, that's bang on, Kyle. That's bang on, dude. I have so I don't have any. I didn't take a data point here at 10 on this takeoff. On my other takeoff to San Antonio, we were 1.4 at 10 and 7,000. We're 1.4, 7,000 and 10. Now, we're slightly different environmentals. I'd have to actually set the sim up for that takeoff data set, which we will. But I don't have any other data sets except I have a climb rate coming up here. Where's my last climb rate check? I got to find it. Climb to 340, American 357. All right, 340. 340 is blue. Okay, now here's something we need to think about, chat. There's out of 10. Let's go ahead and get rid of the drag because we're going to need every ounce that we can climbing up here. So, heavy 321. This is something that every time you get a climb to in a 321, you should get in the habit. Develop this habit. This is a real world habit. Anytime you get a climb altitude.
8 right, taxi via Foxtrot Hotel, Alaskan 377.
Infian.
Center American 1030-ish route, looking to pick up an app.
All right. Anytime you get a climb in a 321, you should automatically come down to your box and you should look at your progress page. Just develop that habit. I don't care if you're on the flight plan or maybe you're looking at maybe you're messing around in the fuel page and it's like, Infian EMOC 357 climb to 29. Come over here, go to your progress page, look at your recommended max, look at your planned cruise, and then think about what altitude you were just assigned. So we're assigned 34 now. We're going to be a little bit too heavy for that. Now, theoretically, we're going to continue to burn fuel here as we climb, right? And we might actually get this number right to 34 by the time we're up to 34. Here's the problem with that. This number, your recommended max altitude, guarantees you 1.3 G buffet margin. So it's the absolute minimum that it will guarantee you. If you, since when do we like to do anything at the absolute minimum when we're flying? Can you do it? Yes, it's legal. The airplane says it can do it. It can probably do it. You'd have a hard leg to stand on if anybody told you differently. However, because it's the absolute minimum, why don't we err on a little side of caution and maybe level off 1,000 prior, right? So if we're showing 33 as our max, at the very least, the most comfortable I'm at right now, knowing that I have to go to an even altitude, is 32,000 feet. Even then, I'd only really 32,000 feet if it's smooth, because you'll see here as we climb up, the window, the coffin corner is going to get pretty tight. Now, this exact flight that we are replicating right here, we tried to climb up to get around some weather closer to Vegas, and we were in that window, and I'm telling you, it's just not a good feeling. When you start bumping around, you see that VLS coming up to bite you. I don't mind being bumped around low altitude. You get me in the mid-30s in a 321, I don't like it, especially heavy. I would rather overspeed than underspeed. That's also another thing we can talk about. However, you just need to be very cautious of this recommended max here. So I think we're staying with center. I'm going to ask for a lower altitude of 32 for right now. I don't even know if we'll be in his airspace by the time we reach 32, but this is a real world technique that if you're flying your 321, if you're especially doing long flights, you need to understand this, because if you don't, you're going to get yourself in trouble. And center for American 357. We're a little heavy for 340 right now. Can we request flight level 320? Climb flight level 320, American 357. Thank you. That's all you got to do. Boom. Done. 32,000 feet. And even then, I'm curious to see what this will be at. Okay, my next, before I got distracted there, I have a takeoff, or I have a climb point at 16,000 feet, doing 1,800 feet a minute at 16,000. We were doing 1,800 feet a minute. Again, this can vary on wind. Let's see where we hit. We have a tailwind here. 16,000 feet. We're doing 1,500 feet per minute. That's within 300 feet, and I think our winds were actually a little bit different. That will definitely make a difference. If this was a headwind or not a tailwind, it'd probably be right at 1,800 feet. So we can see our data point there at 16,000 feet, 1,800 feet a minute. I consider that bang on, considering I didn't write down the winds. I should have wrote down the winds on the climb out. That's on me. I'll do that the next time I fly 321. I'll make sure I write the winds down.
Center Alaskan 377,
but still,
holding short, runway 8
pretty darn
right
close.
hotel.
Pretty darn close. All right, let's enjoy some wing views here while we climb out. Oh yeah, let's just enjoy some IE juice right now. Where do you see feet per minute? Jay, this is your vertical speed, feet per minute right here. This is your vertical speed needle. Right now we're doing 1,400 feet per minute in the climb. We're getting ready to go through transition altitude.
Let him wait there unless the mic 2 doesn't. Yeah, 821.
Stephen. What's up, nerds?
Atlanta Center, American
What's up, dude?
1015, can we get a higher altitude?
Aren't you the rocket scientist? So technically, you're the real nerd here. AJ Funard, thanks for the $3 super chat, man. Welcome on board, dude. He says, if passengers sweat off the weight, will it allow... AJ, I just watched a YouTube video last night. It was on my recommended list. It was a guy flying a drone in the back of a moving truck. Will the drone slide to the back of the truck when the truck starts driving? Then he had a balloon. So if you float a balloon in the back of a moving truck and then you drive, is the balloon going to move with the truck? Or is it going to slide to the back of the truck?
Can I level 320 American 1015?
Report and radar contact. Common 10 follow 340.
320 American 498.
Do you personally recommend the Moza
Alaska
base?
377, holding short, runway 8
Slothies.
right at hotel.
I personally believe it is the future of joystick bases. I don't have any. I don't recommend it. I've only used it very minimally so far, and today, or just today, I got a bunch of updates for it that I want to go through first before I make more concrete claims. But I can tell you, I firmly believe it is the future, because for 500, let's just call it $600, you have a base that you can put any grip on that you want, and you've got force feedback, and there is nothing like a control loading device in the sim, because you can make that device be anything. You can make it be a P-51 Mustang and feel vibrations and your gun shooting and all that. You can make it be an Airbus A320 where it literally has no reactivity from the sim. You're just setting up a sensitivity profile to mimic the real world side stick. You can turn it into a helicopter base where it literally, you move it into one position and it stays in one position. So I need more time with it, Slothies, before I go, yes, absolutely, you got to buy it. But I mean, I want to say that, but as I have a loaner right now, right? So I have there's a lot of changes happening. There's constant updates going to the software and everything. So I believe it's the future. I'm very excited about it. And I really think, I haven't seen anything right now to be like, no. All right, we're out of 18. Let's go STDs for you, me, and AJ. We're all set up. STDs are set. Look at this climb out, chat. 1200. What's our fuel? 16.4. Tell you what, let's do a wind request here. Let's do a wind request. We'll update the winds as we climb out.
Through 2,200, double day 21.
Oh, Romario. He's talking about the engine sounds on takeoff thrust. This is something, I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know happened until the Fenix came out, and then I heard it, and then I went to the real airplane and I listened. So, in the 321 specifically, when you go Toga, the sounds phase out, especially and obviously this is in the cockpit view, right? I don't know the science behind that. I heard it in the Fenix 321. I'm like, wow, the signs really get quiet when you go Toga. But I feel like that's right. So then I get in the airplane, and I'm specifically listening for that. And we just so happened, I did 2 Toga takeoffs in a 321 in the same day. I got to do 2 Togas.
Please turn on the AC. The airfares are flirting back with me in the aft galley, and it's scaring me.
All right, Water. I'll crank it down for you, my man. Thanks for the bank ankle check, Water. Appreciate the support, dude. I mean, I should probably turn it up because don't you want to turn it up back there? Peaks and valleys. Is that what it is? The peaks and valleys of the sound? Okay, so did 2 Togas. Did 2 Togas in the same day with a 321, and I listened specifically for this sound, and I will tell you, it is almost exactly the same that the Fenix has replicated. I think the only difference is, and I even kept my noise canceling off, so I was as clean ear as I could be for the takeoffs. It's a little bit less dramatic in the real airplane when you go into climb thrust. Now, it's still there. It still gets louder, but I would call it like let's just say it's a 15% enhanced on the Fenix 321 than it is in real life. But I actually like that because if you know me, the sounds in the sim I think are better represented when they're slightly more enhanced, just because you're flying a 2D flat screen sitting at a desk chair. You don't have everything around you. So having just a little bit more emphasis in the sim, I think, makes up for that lack of motion and the lack of actually being in the airplane. So I really, really enjoy it. The main key takeaway is that it is simulated exactly how it would sound in the real airplane. It's just when we went to climb thrust, I heard it come up, I heard it get louder. In the Fenix, it tends to get pretty darn loud when you go back into climb thrust. But it's, I mean, we're talking just a slight enhancement. And maybe that has something to do with the temperature, and I don't even know. I mean, you're beyond my pay grade now, right? I just press buttons. So the main thing is that's exactly what the airplane does in real life, and it's just really, really cool to hear that simulation still happen. Because when you get in the 319 in the Fenix and you go Toga, it's a complete opposite. You go Toga in the 319 and it's just up there up front loud. I wish we need like some shaking sounds, but that would probably get annoying. But 319 Toga takeoff, completely different experience than a 321. Look at us just climbing out here 1,000 feet per minute.
2459.
We'll enjoy. Oh, let's go ahead and insert. They're all inserted. Wonderful.
Hello, Center American 1033 to taxi.
I want to put in. What did we need for? We needed 4.8.
Charlotte.
30 to line hour after reaches right, Texas, Charlie, crossway 5 at Charlie.
Showing us landing with
36
16 to
right
1.
by Charlie, crossway 5 at Charlie, American 1030.
Now it might be. It's probably a wind thing. We're burning a little less gas, but that's going to have to do big time with winds and temperatures aloft. So I'm not too concerned about that. All right, we'll continue to monitor here as we climb all the way up. Gustavo says it's harmonics. Lower RPM makes the fan buzz saw closer to sound frequency of the high pressure compressor, so they have more constructive interference on the sound wave. Is the wind noise in real life as loud as it is in the Fenix? Yes, it is, Fubar. That's all you hear as you climb up, is the wind noise getting louder and louder. The 321 being one of the quieter ones, but the loudest, honestly, it's loudest as you go through the mid-20s, I feel like. Because down low, you're probably not, I mean, unless you're doing 330 knots. You do 330 knots at 10,000 feet, it's very, very loud. But until you get above about 28, 29, that's when it kind of gets a little bit quieter. The air is a little bit thinner, quote unquote. But that's where the noise canceling comes in. And I've been listening for that too. I've been listening for the air sound and like really trying to focus on the sounds as we're flying in real life. So, man, I want, all I'm doing now, it's weird. All I'm doing is comparing real life to the real sim. And Fenix has got it good, man. I wouldn't change a thing about the sounds on the Fenix. I wouldn't change a thing. Captain Shark, thank you for the $5 super chat, my man. Captain, I love the content and learning from your streams. The Fenix 321 has become my favorite aircraft, even though we only have 20 hours. And hey, Captain Shark, thanks for the $5 super chat, man. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying the 321. I love it. I love the 321.
I got to disconnect. Apologize.
If I had to pick, though, I'm the 19 all the way. I'm the 19 through and through. But I do love the docileness of the 321. She's much more docile. She's more forgiving. So I do enjoy that part of the 321. Logo lights. I saw that before the stream went live. Logo lights. I need one of those. I'm gonna get one of those. You're ruining me, Logo lights. You're ruining me. What happens to the sound with slew mode? Ask Gustavo. Isn't the sim real life? It basically is. It basically is. I would change the sounds to the 4-engine prop noise they used in the airplane movie.
Altitude is 2,600.
Oh, man.
423 Roger, confirm 4,000.
5,000 Southwest 4423.
Let's just focus on Mike 3 mile final, head 3.
Now the next part will be, the fun part will be determining what failure we're going to dial in here to cause us to divert. What's that? Is that, what airport's that? Nashville? No. Birmingham. Birmingham, Alabama. Roll Tide. Just start pulling breakers. Oh man, I love this livery though. Old school PSA. Look at that view. You just drove through there? Oh yeah, that's right. You drove all the way up from Florida, right? Rapid depressurization. Ooh. Logo lights. I would, dude. I would love it, man. I would love to. I would love to test that sucker out. One random failure for every 100 likes. So we only have 2. Well, yeah, we could do that. So if we hit 300 likes, I tell you what, that's actually a good idea, Marlano. I will hit the random failure button twice since we're at 200 likes. If we hit 300 likes, I'll hit it a 3rd time. And then if it still doesn't happen, then I'll have to figure something out how to divert. I kind of wanted to do, so the FO I was flying with on my last trip, he was telling me, so they were flying with the FWC, a flight warning computer deferred, and then they had another FWC fail. They had both, so they had to return, because once, I was like, man, how could you, I didn't even know you could defer FWC1, but if FWC2 goes out, you get no alerts. You don't get any ECAM statuses, nothing. That's flight warning computer, right? I was like, man, that's pretty unique. I've never heard of that happening. Just reach down and cut the engines? No, it would be key 6. Also, key 6, just so happens that FO, the same FO I'm talking about, he was at Horizon when that happened. Was it Horizon? I think it was Horizon. Or yeah, it was an Alaska pilot, but it was on a Horizon jet.
And American 1030.
It was either Horizon or SkyWest. I can't remember. I think it was Horizon, wasn't it? Does the scenery at the moment look real? It sure does. I'll tell you what. That's why I like having window view. That's real life. That is real life right there. No window. That's real life. You can't tell me that's not real. You got monkeypox and COVID on the window. That's 100% real life. Toilet stopped flushing. What's your cost index? Tower Ray, we're doing 27 per our real world cost index numbers. All right, here we go. So we're leveling at 32. Let's go to our prog. Look at that. So we almost would have been good to go to 34. So we're going to level at 32. That's a pretty decent window. I'm happy with that. If you tried to push it, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like to go any more than that. So this is why I enjoy. This is why I preferred leveling at 32. We got plenty of buffet margin.
Roger. The altitude is about 6,000 Southwest 423.
I'll go ahead and increase our cost index. Let's go 55 here. Pick it up just a tad. Not enough. How about 75? Oh, we're not at cruise. That's why. So let's re-cruise it for the time being. Then we'll do 320. Out cruise. I like it. Getting into a flight with 3 hurricanes out here in the Pacific. Getting into a fight. What are you in? Zippy, you in like War Thunder? The pilot lives near me. He was heading back to the Bay Area when that happened. Just came out and made a statement. I know, Key 6. The thing is, the decision to do shrooms before, even remotely before doing flying anything, that was a lack of judgment right there. So he's like, it's a momentary lapse in judgment. I'm like, yeah, that you totally had clear thought when you decided to do shrooms. Within, like, just, come on, dude. So people were like, oh, he should get back. No, 88, 86 counts of murder. I mean, come on, man. You can't be doing that.
16,000 for American 1030.
Bad choice to do shrooms in the first place. If you're gonna do shrooms, or here's the thing. He said himself he didn't feel good getting on the plane to begin with. I know he wants to go home, but if you don't feel right in the head, or you don't feel right at all, why you getting on an airplane? So, to me, he had multiple opportunities to not do it. I mean, I believe him that when he was up there, I believe that he was really just still tripping, and he pulled the fire handles and all that. But the decisions prior to that are what, to me, is like, no, I can't feel bad for you, man. So, it's not like he was feeling totally normal, got on the airplane, and somebody spiked his ginger ale or something, and then he tripped out and pulled the fire handles in cruise. He was conscious. He made conscious decisions prior to getting on an airplane, and that's it. Do the sharklets introduce flight dynamics? Yes, they do, dopes. And this is an interesting thing that you bring up here. So, sharklets, I know they do things such as decrease drag, increase performance a little bit, save a little bit of fuel. And it's actually not a little bit. It's actually significant. It's a significant difference. It's in the teens. Whatever the percentage is, I forget. 13%, 17%. Gustavo probably knows. But as far as from a pilot standpoint, what sharklets do is they actually help, I won't say help, they make the airplane feel smoother on landing, mostly landing, and then maybe a little bit of takeoff. And the reason being is it changes the ground effect. So ground effect can be measured. Hold on, I gotta turn this down. So ground effect can be measured by, what is it, half the wingspan in altitude, right? Was that for 357 OD Unicom?
That's for American 498.
Oh. So if half the wingspan in altitude is your, general speaking, where you're going to start to feel that ground effect, when you add sharklets, you're not just adding a vertical piece here. You're actually extending the wing by about 6 feet. So 111.10 is our current wingspan right now. 111.10 in the 319, 320, and 321 CEO, all the same. 110 feet, 11 inches. You add a sharklet on there, you go to 117 feet, 5 inches. So you've now added 6 feet. So just say we cut that in half, 3 feet. Now you've got 3 feet more where you feel the ground effect in theory, right? Just in mathematical numbers. So can a pilot determine, can I determine that, I have sharklets, so I'm going to feel ground effect 3 feet higher than I normally do? No, that's not how it works in practicality when you're flying and landing these airplanes, because every landing is its own individual landing. You have your own exact environmental conditions. You have your own exact energy state of the airplane. You have your own exact runway conditions. Is it wet? Is it sloped? You have multiple factors at play for every single landing. And so they're all going to be different, and they all make an effect on how the airplane feels when you flare it and land it. They all make an effect. You can have some landings in a 321 where it feels like you just stopped flying and you break it down like a 319. That can happen if you have the right set of circumstances. So in practicality, get away from the mathematics here of adding 6 feet to the wingspan. In practicality, in general, when I fly a sharklet aircraft composed to a wing-fenced aircraft, I feel as if it's easier to slide it in to that just prior to butter zone, right? 5 feet or less, where you can kind of hold it off and it wants to, I say this gingerly, float just a little bit more. And that's, for lack of better words, I say float, but it almost like it's almost easier to save a bad landing with sharklets, if that makes sense. Not saying you can't save a bad landing with wingtip fences. You can if you have the energy. But in general speak, with sharklets, it just seems softer. It just comes down softer, and it just wants to settle in there, and they're easier to grease on with sharklets. That's really the only difference that I can tell flying, going back and forth, bouncing before wingtip fences and sharklets. So that aside, I do know that they increase they decrease fuel burn, they decrease your induced drag. So there is a performance impact where if you start going long range, you're definitely going to see some significant numbers, and I'm sure Fenix is already on it, crunching the numbers of how much that's going to change their fuel flow, or it's probably going to have to change their drag simulation, which is then going to increase their or decrease their fuel burn, etc. So I know they're hard at work at that. That's what's taking them the time that they need, is because they're not just going to give you a visual sharklet. I don't know how or if they're going to adjust the flare model of the airplane. If it were me, I would say whatever factor that you have in there for determining ground effect, just add like 5%. Make it 5% more floaty and call it good. But I don't know. I'm sure they're going to get more mathematical into the weeds. But right now, what we have simulated between the 19, 20, and 21 is the closest thing we've seen through all the updates. I think Fenix was going up, progressing, and making the airplane feel like the real airplane with their updates. Block 2 felt good. And then there was an update just before this one that I feel almost plateaued, or in some ways kind of brought the feel of landing down a point compared to the original Block 2. And then they released this airplane, and it bumps it right back up to the closest we've had to the real thing. So I'm cautiously optimistic that they don't go overboard and make it too floaty with sharklets, because you can tell the difference if you're really paying attention in certain situations. But at the end of the day, it's so small. The biggest change you're going to notice is going to be in induced drag and their fuel numbers and all that. Unfathomable, thank you for the $5 super chat, man. Hello, Captain. I love your streams. That's a PIC. How much discretion do you have over requesting additional fuel? Unfathomable, that's going to vary greatly on your company, your operator, and how they do things. For us, I will say it's a very open conversation, and whenever there is a head-to-head disagreement, it says in the book that the most conservative option will play out. So generally what happens is if I feel like I need more fuel, or maybe I don't like the fuel planning, or I feel like there's some weather that's happening that isn't really published in a forecast, but I'm familiar with my experience and the conditions around that area of the country or world.
I'm closing up here. Change to the CTAP frequency is approved. It's 118.1. Not traffic service between
that's from us. Then I'll call up dispatch, be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can we do an extra 1,000 or extra, 1,500, whatever? It's rarely ever more than that. And then I've never, all but one time, I think, where we've kind of really been at a standstill, where we were blocked. Like I wanted more, they didn't put more on. But in the book, it says most conservative option wins. So if you can't make a decision, the guy who wants more fuel is going to get more fuel. So I feel like that settles it down. But it's very rare that you get in that discussion where you're like, well, I don't want to give you any fuel. You don't know what you're talking about. I mean, everyone is trying to have a safe operation, right? So we're all working towards the same goal. Thanks for the HC. We'll see it. All right, 22.8 is up. I'm going to be top of descent soon. All right, Zippy. We're going to be doing our diversion here pretty soon. We're going to divert. We're going to slip into DFW. And what I might do, I should have installed San Antonio any builds. I kind of want to do the second takeoff data set flight. What if I restart the sim on a turnaround state and we do a sunset departure? It's only a short flight. It's like 40 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how I feel by the time we get down there. Let me check schedule. I think I got a schedule notification here. No, I screwed up, Chad. I had an opportunity to swap out of a trip, but I didn't want to do the LaGuardia overnight. I want to do John Wayne and Burbank instead. But I got to do a red eye. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Why would they not want to give you more fuel, Jordan? Because just blindly adding fuel is going to make you burn more money. You're actually going to, there becomes a point of diminishing returns, right? If you start putting on more weight, the airplane has to work harder. The engines have to work harder to keep that weight airborne. So now you're actually burning more gas than you need to. And if you don't need to carry that fuel, you've literally just wasted that money. And in our flight plan breakdowns, it will show you how much you're saving or spending every 1,000 pounds extra over the plan weight or over the plan fuel. So you can, and there's some crazy difference. Let me look at this one here. So this particular flight I did, so this one's not much. So Atlanta fuel for the airline is $2.49. In Las Vegas, the fuel is $2.90. So a tanker savings every 1,000 pounds is $7. So that's something that you'd keep in mind. Every 1,000 pounds is $7. Let me look at another one I have here. Here's one that's a little bit more. Well, that's actually a little bit less. DFW fuel was $2.31. San Antonio fuel, $2.41. $3 every 1,000 pounds. So that's only a 10-cent difference opposed to 40-cent difference. So $7-10 doesn't sound like much, but let's just say, 2,000 or 3,000 pounds extra. So you're $20-30 extra. You multiply that by however many flights. How many daily departures does American have? Let's just do a quick math calculation. AAL daily departures. Number. I don't know. It's got to be 14,000 daily flights. Okay, so take 14,000 times $30, or let's do half of that. Let's just say it's more than this, but let's just say 7,000 domestic flights. We won't even include international. So take 7,000 times 30. That's $210,000 a day in savings, and that's actually a conservative number, right? So let's just say, let's do a little bit more realistic. Let's do 30 times, let's say 10,000 daily departures. That's 300,000. Let's do it times 1 week times 7. That's $2.1 million a week in tanker savings. $2.1 million per week, just if you're messing with fuel numbers. I want to take an extra 1,000. So it adds up quick. All right, let's go smooth ride here. Let's go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. You're now free to move about the cabin. We have a company massage here. I think that's just going to be our ADC. 210 in the CEO's pockets. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. Delay card. Ain't anybody got time for delay codes? If the slew generator fails, it requires an immediate divert according to Stig. Man. Got any LaGuardia fuel numbers? Vodka, I don't, unfortunately. Yeah, you know what? I might have some in the truck. I have my work bag in the truck. I don't know if I want to go out there right now. But yeah, I bet, LaGuardia or even California, man. I was hoping I had an LA. I don't have my LA one with me. But isn't that crazy if you think about it? So What's Vegas fuel prices for the average American? It's got to be well over $3 a gallon, right? The airlines are getting it for $2.90. I can tell you right now, diesel in Dallas, I pay oh brother, I just knocked over my light. That's not good. Don't want to spill my soy boy latte here either. All right. In Dallas for diesel, I pay anywhere between $3.16 and maybe $3.10 if I go to Buc-ee's or something. And Dallas, the airlines are getting fuel for $2.31. Talk about corruption. The airlines are paying $2.31 a gallon, and I'm paying over $3.16. So, isn't that crazy? Out here in SoCal, gas is $4 a gallon. Yeah, that's what I said. I believe it, man. And I'm sure the airlines are paying probably $2.95 or $3. I mean, Vegas is pretty close, right, to SoCal numbers. Not quite SoCal numbers, but I would imagine it's closer. Even if let's just say it's like $3, $3.15 for the airlines, and Thrustset's still paying between $4 and $5 a gallon. Craziness. Might just keep flying to Phoenix instead of diverting so I can enjoy the stream. Joe Plains, that was you out in front of us? All right, man. Roberto's in the house. Roberto, good to see you, man. Doing good. How are you, Roberto? Hope things are well. Hope life is well, my friend. Roberto's Bluebird 7576 sending out previews. Microsoft 2024. I think you're lucky. Sir, you're not paying UK fuel prices. Oh, Dougal, that is true. I am aware of that, my man, for sure. Captain Reed. I mean, I know you all seen it. Everyone's got the stickers. They put those on the pumps, and then you can see where like those stickers have been removed. You can just see the outline. Yeah, man, it's just wild. I remember during COVID. Or prior to COVID, I was paying $1.27 a gallon for diesel. $1.27. $1.27 for diesel. Now it's still low considering at 310, 316. It's still low. But yeah. And then when it spiked, I was paying almost $6. Quick announcement from Roberto. He says, if I may, one major provider of our parts for the throttles has failed me, but we have changed and we are catching up. That includes your 767, which will be ready next week. Ooh, brother, you heard it here first in chat, y'all. So next week, hopefully 767 throttles will be getting ready. Of course, you guys know Throttletek being a big supporter of the channel here. We got the Throttleteks right there. Airbus throttles going strong, looking good. Thanks for the announcement, Roberto. We look forward for it, man. Absolutely look forward to it. It has been a mess. Hey, man, understandable. I feel like ever since 2020, everything is reliability and everything has gone downhill. Doesn't matter what it is, what industry. Reliability from restaurants to vehicle manufacturers to engine manufacturers to throttle manufacturers. Everything's crazy. We're throwing in a surprise for all our V3 customers as an apology. Ooh, a V3 surprise. I'm interested. Very interested. Thrustset says $4.50 at Costco for regular, near $5 to $5+ for non-Costco. Wow, Thrustset. Crazy, dude. Crazy. All right, so we did a 727 version of the G737. Oh, wow. Team Fox is asking, we need 727 throttles now. Yeah, we did a 7.2 version with the G7. That would be pretty crazy, yeah, because the G737, stick a lever there in the middle. That'd be sweet. Sold. Me too. Me too. Hey, Team Fox, did you see the big flight model update that's coming for the 7.2? We're going to have to hop in that here pretty quick. We're going to have to hop back in that. All right, let's have some fun. So we're actually, before we have fun and mess things up, let's, for science, chat, for science, let's say we're planned here with a step climb 340. Our airplane says we can go to 34,000 feet. You're climbing out in your 321. All right, we're going to go to 3.4. You see your recommended max is 341. Can you legally do 34,000 feet? You're absolutely right, you can. Can you technically fly over 34? Could you fly 35? Yeah, you could. Theoretically, it's not recommended. It's not a limitation. You lose your guarantee of 1.3 G VSO. So, definitely don't want to do it. There has been a crew that I know of firsthand, not firsthand, not me. It was a crew that I know exists. I've spoken to said crew. Tried to climb above a cell, above the recommended max, put the airplane into a alpha floor stall toggle back and forth. Don't do it. It's a stupid idea. Don't ever go above your recommended max. So, but for scientific purposes here, let's take a look at our window here. We got plenty of juice. And if ATC came on and said, hey, American 357, can you climb to 340? My first question would be, what are the rides like at 34? Are they smooth? We can do it if it's smooth. Like, yeah, we got smooth rides at 34,000 feet. Okay, cool. We'll take 340. 34 set. Thrust climb, open climb, up we go, and we'll take a look at our VLS window as we get up there closer. Matter of fact, let's just watch it. So we're thrust climb, open climb, 340 blue, and we'll see what happens to our coffin corner here as it tightens down. Wiring money now. Uh-oh, Team Vodka must have been at the bar this morning. Actually, you wire it to me, Team Vodka, and I will give it to you after I put it through some testing. What does open climb mean? It means you are speed on elevator. So the airplane is going to go to a fixed thrust setting, which is thrust climb. And in open climb, the airplane will give you the most pitch that it can at the current setting of thrust, which is climb thrust, and climb you out. So in open climb, you're going to ignore any vertical constraints. Maybe you're on a SID and there's a level off at 7,000 feet. You're climbing at a 5. If you pull for open climb, the airplane will not obey any restraints on your FMS or in your box. So you would have to manage climb. It would be thrust climb, climb, to which then it would level and honor any restraints. Open climb will also protect you from stalling the aircraft. If I went into vertical speed 340, the airplane will just maintain whatever vertical speed I select regardless of speed. In open climb, it's going to adjust the pitch accordingly to maintain the speed target. In this case, our managed climb out speed here of 7.8 Mach. It's a pseudo flight level change, but I hate comparing airplane Boeing to Airbus because it's not the same. It's not flight level change, but it's similar. But I don't like doing that comparison. Are you right above me, Tower Ray? Let's see. We do see an airplane up there. You're 15 miles, man. You're plenty of room. Look at that. Look at that window starting to tighten down. Now, in a smooth environment, this is fine. And actually, I would think that this would be even a little bit tighter here. So that's 290 and 260, 30 knot margin. You start get bumped around, this VLS will really start to shoot up. So, but smooth ride, 34,000 feet, we are fine. We're well within our 1.3 G buffet margin. Everything's fine here. But if it was turbulent, real life, you're probably coming back down to 32. Do you think Fenix will ever add pilot route function? What's a pilot route function to the FMC? I don't even know what that is. Lowest selectable, Zippy. Your lowest selectable speed. So, since Zippy wants to test things out here, VLS is the lowest selectable speed that an airplane will fly. So right now it seems to be right about, what is that, 255 maybe? Even though I can select a lower, I'm going to select 6.6 Mach. This is a really dangerous demonstration here, Zippy. If we crash, I'm blaming you. But the aircraft should not, in real life, slow below VLS, the lowest selectable speed target. Oh, Eamon Burke, you mean like that data, the stored route page? I never even thought about that. Look, there goes the Eepers. They're coming back up. They're like, no, no, no. I tell you what, if I see this in a 321 now, I'm like, hey, we need to get lower now. If you fall out the back side of this curve, it's more dangerous than going in the overspeed. Because if you fall out the backside, you can put the airplane in a deep stall, which can be unrecoverable. But there we go. I've got 6.6 selected, but what's the airplane flying, Zippy? Lowest selectable speed, 7.3 Mach. So Let's go contrary. Let's select 8.8 Mach, pretending I'm a 727. What will the airplane fly in smooth air? Theoretically, it should not go above 8.1 Mach. Look at this, chat. This is a good demonstration. We'll start the chrono. How fast do you think it's going to take for us to hit 8.0 Mach here? We're at maximum thrust, 1.61 E/per. This is a perfect demonstration of why thrust will do nothing for you in a high-altitude stall. This is high-altitude aerodynamics. Look at this. We're 15 seconds in. We've only gone up 0.1 Mach. We're full thrust here at altitude, and we're only at 34,000 feet. Imagine being at 38, 39. Almost 30 seconds in, we've only gone up 0.2 Mach, and this is dead still air right now, too, mind you. We are full thrust. She's got no more juice. We'll just see how fast. Let's see how long it takes here. What were we? 7.3 Mach? 7.3 Mach was the slowest. Almost a minute to just get us back to our normal 7.7. Actually, we were cruising at 7.8. Do you think the 321 CEOs are underpowered? Yes and no. They're a dog, but they're not that underpowered if you have the right engine on there. IAE's V2500 Select 2. But they are more of a dog, absolutely. Now, with that said, though, if you've ever flown a 321 with 60 people on it or less, like I did the other day too, it's a freaking rocket. A lightly loaded 321 is awesome. You can almost pretend you're a 7.5 pilot. Almost. A 7.5 that's like fully loaded. And you're empty. That's as close as you can get. An empty 321 and a fully loaded 7.5 might be a close race. So we're 2 minutes in, chat. We're at max thrust, 2 minutes in to recover. Now imagine if you stalled that airplane below 7.3. That's why thrust is not going to save you. You got to get that AOA down. You got to lower the nose. Jeremy, that accident had a lot to do with that accident. Jeremy, had a lot to do with how we train for high altitude stalls now. I was taught that way. First it was minimize altitude loss, get the nose down, and then they went away from that. Depending on the airframe, they'll actually teach you to roll it so you can get the nose down through the horizon. Because if you can't get that nose down and you slide out on the tail, you're just going to go all the way to the ground. Okay, so here we are. We finally reached 8.1 Mach. I've selected 8.8 Mach. Watch the EPers now. $4,000 feet, 4,000 pounds aside. Love it. Now look at the EPers. Look at the EPers. 8.2 max. So it's actually going to keep you below the overspeed. Took us 3 minutes and 30 seconds to reach red line at full thrust. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go, half a Mach. Pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. All right, so let's go back to our normal speed. Power's come way back. Let's see how long it takes to slow down. From 8.2 to, what is that, 7.8? Oh, yeah, rudder's definitely greater in almost all cases, Gustavo. In almost all cases. Sorry if I already covered, but I'm hearing a lot of people saying the 321 is too floaty on landing. Is this true? Dougal, no, I don't personally believe so. I've done a handful of landings in it. I did some landings. It took us 40 seconds just to slow down there a little bit. So just to give you a high-altitude aerodynamics lesson. But let's talk about Dougal's question briefly, because Dougal, personally, I don't think it is. The 321 is one of the easier, I think the 321 is actually the easiest one to land when you look at the 19, 20, and 21. To land well and repetitively get smooth landings, I feel the 321 is the number one in that slot. Maybe only second to the 320 Neo, and then if you have a 321 Neo, then they're about the same. I mean, the Neos land completely different. So Neos aside, CEO only, 321, it's very easy to consistently get nice smooth landings as long as you are flying the appropriate approach. You have the appropriate energy management on approach. You're not fast, you're not slow. She's much more docile. You have a double slotted flap, help reduce the angle of attack on approach, keep your tail strike, keep your tail up a little bit, right? So you come in flatter. So you don't need a whole lot more to flip. You don't need a whole lot more input. You just need a little bit of nose up input there because you're almost flat anyway, 2.5 degrees nose up on approach, and you just set her down. And she settles down very nicely. So I don't personally believe at this moment that it is too floaty. I actually really enjoy what Fenix has done across the board with the 21 and the 19 and the 20 in their landing characteristics. You can definitely tell there's a difference between all three. That is 100% true to real life, even though, and this is why I call it black magic, in real life and in the sim world, it's the same fly-by-wire laws, right? Roll rate, G-load, same degrees per second. So one would think, oh, they should all be the exact same. They're not. And that's just reality. And in the sim, they have black magically whipped that up as well, and you can feel the difference. And I think they've done a great job. I really hope they don't change it. Everyone's going to have an opinion. We've already talked about opinions. Opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one. They all stink, right? So, but that's just my opinion. I really enjoy how they handle, and I hope they don't change it. I think if they're going to change it with the sharklets, because that's when it does. That was when things will become a little bit more floaty. 19 will be a little bit easier to land. The 320 will be a little bit easier to land, and the 321 should just be a butter machine. So. I feel like too floaty is code for bad energy management. And Ramon Thompson, you have a great point there. And everything I've said that, they feel good on landing, they feel good if you're flying the appropriate approach with appropriate energy management. That is huge, and it's even more emphasized in a 321. Think about this for a second. If you're in a 321, oops, didn't mean to click that. Your number one concern is tail strike, right? 9.5 degrees undeployment attitude really should never get above 7.5 degrees. And that's indicated here. You have 2.5, 5, and 7.5, this white line. Rarely ever. You should really never be up there. If you have to pitch over 7.5 degrees to slow your descent rate, that's poor energy management. If you are at the appropriate approach speed, and I want to say at the appropriate approach speed, because if you select speed and you change it, or there's maybe your weights are off and you're at for some reason, which shouldn't happen, then you're going to have issues. But as long as your airplane is loaded properly, you're at the appropriate approach speed, and you're on speed, because just because you have the right speed selected, if you're not on speed, you don't have good energy management. What is your trending? What's your trend of energy? Are you going through a sink rate as you go into the flare? That happens in real life. Are you losing that headwind component? If you lose that headwind component as you cross the threshold, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to pitch up a little bit because now you're losing that component of lift. So now you're already starting to pitch up. You better hold off until the last minute, because if you don't, you're going to keep pitching up too early, and then you're going to start getting up to tail strike awareness attitude, right? So you want to be on speed, and you have to be cognizant of what is happening around you. What are your winds doing? And this is where it gets really tricky in flight sim world, because we can't feel what the airplane is doing in our own human senses. Our butt isn't moving. We don't feel that increase of performance. We don't feel that decrease of performance. So it actually is more challenging. If I'm being honest with you, it's more challenging theoretically in a desktop simulator to judge what the airplane is doing, because you can't feel it in your own body. In the real airplane, when you're coming down the approach, you're on speed, I can tell when, okay, we're getting a nice gust of wind here, airplane's performing, the thrust is coming back, Like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to come out the bottom side. So once that gust subsides, guess what happens? Now the engines are back. We're losing performance because we just have that gust subside. What am I going to do? I know mentally I'm actually going to keep pitching down a little bit here. I'm going to increase that sink rate. I'm going to keep the AOA low so I can build that speed up quicker because I know the auto thrust is going to take its sweet time catching up to me. This is where I firmly believe in the Boeing method of auto thrust, being able to override it. Same with the Embraer 170, 190. So, you know, being able to feel that in real life, you can make those changes. In the sim, you really got to be key on what's happening. Look at your wind speed on the ND, and not even so much that. That's a good idea. What is your speed doing over here on the speed scale? What's your sink rate doing? Are you seeing wide changes or large changes in vertical speed, indicating that you are actually descending through a very gusty environment? So got to be in tune with everything going on here, not just looking at your wind speed on your ND. Want to be in tune with everything going on. That is energy management. That is knowing your VREF speed, your VAP speed, knowing your trends in speed. Are you increasing, decreasing? Your trends in vertical speed. And if you manage that properly, you shouldn't have a hard time landing the airplane. If you are fast, you will float. If you are slow, you will sink. Period. So as long as you're on speed and doing everything the way you should be doing, it shouldn't be an issue. Now, does that mean every single landing you're going to grease? No, it absolutely does not mean that at all. It doesn't mean that in real life. There have been numerous times where I've landed where I'm like, man, I wish I could have done better than that. I should have done better than that. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Coming in the other day to LA, wake turbulence right at like 20, 30 feet. Rolled us in. It totally destabilized my butter. It wasn't firm by any means, but I mean, it wasn't my best landing, right? FO also landing LA 2-4 right. He greased it 88 feet per minute. We printed out. I was like, hey man, that was really greasy. It was a good job. He was concerned about landing a 321. It's only his third landing in a 321. So we printed out the landing report. He had a 1.2 G, 88 feet per minute. So it can be done, and it's also going to come back to bite you if you're not on speed. Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, that's just the weight and balance thing. AG Funari, man. Appreciate the $3 super chat. V1 is randazzling his next flight Navy excuse. Oh, man. Frames. Yeah, I mean, do as I say, not do as I do, right? Okay. Anyway. Could a flight simmer land the real deal? Probably not. Good luck getting the seat moved properly. There's a lot more going on. Now, if somebody brought you into the cockpit, they strapped you in, they set your seat up right, and you found where everything was, maybe? I sure hope my simmer is a Pimax Crystal user, though. If a simmer has to land my airplane, I hope he's been landing in VR, because it's a world of difference. But was the tail in the touchdown zone? Slustava, why don't you just go back to your nonsense? All right, let's run through a appropriate. I said I would do it. Let's see what happens here. I'm probably going to regret this. Let's get some random failures on. Manual random failures. Realistic. High. I'm going to do all failures. Let's trigger one. Oh, right out of the... Are you kidding me? Right out of the gate? Oh my gosh. Alright, I have control. What the Autoflight, autopilot off. Electric AC essential bus fault. Oh, we don't have auto switching on. AC essential feed alternate. AC essential feed alternate. I would transfer controls to the first officer. We are in thrust lock. That means the thrust lever is not going to move. Okay. Electric AC bus 1 fault. Blower override. Override. Thrust levers move. We're out of hold on, I'm gonna actually bring them back. We should be able to go in back at our AP on. Let's go auto thrust. AP2, no auto thrust, huh? Okay. No, because we have FADEC fault. All right. So manual thrust. Autopilot 2 is engaged. Center American 357. Declaring an emergency. We'd like to set up a diversion to DFW. American 357, roger. When you get a minute, state fuel and souls on board. Turn left, fly heading 250 vectors, DFW. 250, we'll get back to you, American 357. All right, let's go ahead and descend back down to 340. Let's keep flying the airplane. Remember, I'm doing a multi-crew thing here. I got to press it one more time. Let me get this fixed first, one at a time. All right, electric AC bus 1 fault. Auto flight, auto thrust off. Avionics vent, hydraulic fuel flight controls. All right. We're down to 1. AC bus 1 is faulted. AC essential, we've got Gen 2 picking up the load. Okay. Clear electric. Auto flight, auto thrust off. Auto flight's back on, auto thrust off. Status. Let's keep reading this here. So, pressures, we've lost TAT, SAT, and ISA. Clear cabin pressurization. We've lost blue electric. Clear blue, or clear hydraulic rather. Fuel, we've lost the 1 tank, or 1 pump in each wing tank. Clear fuel. We've lost the blue hydraulic, so we've lost the spoiler in each wing. And blue on the rest of the flight control surfaces. That's fine. Clear flight control. Status. Stop status. Let's set up our diversion. So, first and foremost, let's go diversion mode. New destination, KDFW. Insert. Arrival. I want ILS 17 center. No star. Approach via Bossy. Insert. Direct to Bossy. Insert. We're going there. Direct to Bossy. 340. Alright. Already declared emergency. Now we have both engines running. We just have a fault here with the EPR mode fault. Alright, I wish I had my iPad with me. I should have done that first. Let's go ahead and read the rest of the ECAM. We're headed the right direction. We're at 34,000 feet. Everything looks fine. So, landing distance procedure apply. Thrust limit penalty. Both PFD on same FAC. Cabin zone at fixed temp. Slat slow Cat 2 only. In-op systems. Blue hydraulic. Spoiler 3. ADR 3. Rad out 1. Standby pitot. Standby AOA. Left windshield heat. Left window heat. Auto thrust. Cat 3. FAC 1. Left tank pump 1. Right tank pump 1. Reverser 1. Vent blower. Galley fan. Cargo vent. Press. Oh. Hit clear. Keep going. Aft cargo heat, main galley, blue electric, brake system 1, DMC 3, and lav smoke detection. It is all in op. Got it all? Clear status. Now, I wish I had my EFB to tell me what to do here for the essential fault, but I'm going to play around with it. So we've got an EPR fault. So let's go N1 mode and N1 mode on engine 2, so they're the same. Okay, so now I've got N1 mode. I'm in rated N1 mode. I'm basically going to be flying these engines like Neos. So we have N1 thrust indications, 83 and 85. That's what we're rocking. I'm a little asymmetric here, but that's fine. I'll bump it up. All right. I'm scared to press it again. Do I have to press it again? I don't even have my iPad with me. Can I go get my EFB? Because there might be... I'm trying to think if I need to... The generator's still fine, but we lost AC bus 1. So generator 2 is powering everything. I'm going to start the APU here for a learning experience. I want to see what's happening. We're on a single generator start, so we're above 27, which is fine, but we have a generator running. So we're going to do a generator-assisted APU start. I want to see what happens here with the load. No iPad, no go. YOLO. I kind of want to press it again. All right, I'm going to spool up the APU is spooling. I'm going to go get my my EFB, my real-world EFB, to deal with these faults, see if there's additional things I need to take care of here before we press it again. All right, you have control. Don't touch anything. I'll be right back. All right, we back. Hold on. I had to stop at the lavatory. Did a little pit stop too. And re-secure my chair. All right, so APU is available for 3rd gen. We need destination data. Someone get me a METAR for DFW here. Help me out. We'll also start a descent. Let's go ahead and descend flight level 250. We'll do 240. That's fine. We'll manage it down. We'll bring the power back. All right. So we had EFP might have melted. It almost did. I don't have anything for APR mode fault, manual thrust. We've got that. Clear engine 1. Clear engine 1. Electronic AC bus 1 fault. So I don't have anything in the immediate action. So that's electric, right? Yeah, electric AC bus 1 fault. So now I need to go to the other one. And that's going to be electrical. Electric. There might not be anything else for us to do, which is crazy when you think about it. Electric AC bus 1. Bus 1. Oh, wow. My EFB just crashed on me as I pulled up the procedure. Gotta love technology. Gotta love technology. All right, thanks for the METARs, guys. All right, electric bus 1 fault, ELEC bus 1, AC bus 1. If this crashes again, this will be not good. Search. There it is, electric AC bus 1 fault. Okay, blowers override fuel consumption increased. FMS prediction unreliable. EPR mode fault. The associated procedure is only applicable to aircraft with IAE engines, which is what we have. Landing distance procedure, FMS, all the in-op systems. AC bus 1 normally supplies the essential through Tier 1 DC. For aircraft equipped with the AC essential feed auto switching, which we do not have, AC essential bus and DC will automatically recover due to the fact that the AC bus 2 automatically supply AC essential. We had to press the button. We manually recovered it by pressing the alternate button, which we did. We already did the blower, closed circuit configuration. We know the FMS prediction, other in-op. Okay, so there's really nothing else to do. We've pretty much cleared the fault. We've done what we need to do. Let's clear those out. Let's get the information in the box here for landing data. So that's it. That's how easy Airbus is. There's nothing else to do. I'm going to take Water's latest one, 090 at 5. Altimeter is 3011. I know the 762 is the barrel. What's the temperature out here today? 34 degrees. It's not that hot. 34 is set. 762, 17 center. LS push buttons are on. LS push buttons are on. We're in our descent. Okay, so continuing. I guess I'll have to press it again, don't I? Okay. Can I make it not severe though? How about that? Can I make it minor faults only? I'm going to make it a minor fault. No? He will float almost illegal and will smash. No. Are you out, Gustavo? It's Gustavo. Whatever. We'll see you, man. Go for balls of steel. All right. Everything seems to be okay. Maybe it's bugged where it won't stack up on you. Let's go open descent here. 22. Remember, I got the thrust lever, so bring the power back. I'm flying. Okay, and a third time. Exit road door just flew off. Maybe it doesn't let you compound them. Phoenix failure button in the hub. I pressed it 3 times. Let's go over here. I'll tell you what, let's say... Well, I don't want to do hydraulics because I want to feel the landing properly. Let's go back to the electrical. I don't want to go dark either. Let's do something benign. Zippy appears like no idiot's gonna press this button more than once, right? Let's get a Pack 2 overheat. That's actually a good one. We'll apply the changes. Let's see. Flying along. We're descending down. I'm actually curious to see what will happen there. Alright, we're leveling at 22. Alt star. Captain joining you from 340 and seat 36D on a 321 Neo. Wingnut, what's up, man? Wow, you've been doing a lot of flying lately. You bouncing between Sims and home or something? I pushed the button 3 times. The price was paid. That's right, JP. Uh-oh. There it is. Air Pack 2 overheat. Okay, Pack 2 off. When Pack overheat out, Pack 2 on. Pack 2 off. All right, pack 2 is off. Remember, it's already at fixed temp. Let me look that one up too. So let's pull that up in the EQRH first. That is under air conditioning. Nope, the only emergency items we have is bleed 1-2 fault, so we don't have that. So let's go to the other one and let's look up this fault, which is air pack 2 overheat. Air pack 2 overheat. High flow is automatically selected on the remaining pack. Fault light goes off when the overheat disappears. So, watch our speed. I still faulted, so we'll leave it off. We're single pack. So we're single pack. That means we're going to be high flow, right? So we're high flow. If we go to the pressure... Yep, you can see it's already, the remaining pack, pack 1 is picked up, and we're at high flow only because we're a single pack now. All right. Tray table failure. Well, that would be an immediate eject. Immediate Alt F4. All right, we still have to land with no auto thrust in N1 mode, which will be spicy. I think I'm good on failures. All right, I diversion to set up. Here's the thing. Here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to run the sim time forward because, trust me on this one, y'all, we do not want to see default DFW scenery and textures. So let's make it a nice sunset arrival into old DFW where we don't have to look at the default ground textures. When are we going to get a compressor stall? Hopefully not anytime soon. Air pack 2 off, clear air. That's now associated. Clear air. I'm curious, do we have... We'll go back in here. What would it be under? Electrical, fire protection, fuel, hydraulic, landing gear, pneumatic, APU. Oh, you know what? Let's do pack 1 and 2 fault. See what happens if we fail both those. I'm trying to get it so we have to do an emergency descent and open up the ram air. Uh-oh. There it is. Look at that. It automatically detected just like the real airplane. Okay, this is a big one. Air pack 1-2 fault. Pack 1 off. Pack 1 off. Descend to flight level 10,000 MEA and set our American 357. We have a pressurization. We need to descend 10,000 feet. American 357, roger. Descend to maintain 10,000 feet. How do I put my mask on? I need to put my mask on. Put your mask on. Signs on. Let's go. We're thrust idle. Open descent. Speed brakes out. Let's go. We need to get down. Speed brake out. We're open descent. We're idle. I'm going to select speed. 340 knots. When differential pressure is less than 1 psi and flight level below 10,000 or 10,000, ram air on. So we're descending. We need to look at the pressurization. So I'm going to pull pressurization up. When our diff is below 1. So right now our diff is 6.3. We're in an emergency descent. So this is actually an interesting. This is one that is actually a good one to practice. Look at our spoilers because of our blue. So our emergency descent is even hindered because we have the essential. So our blue hydraulic is out. Guess what spoiler that is right there? That's the blue hydraulic. Can't pop it up. PTU does not pressurize blue, so we cannot get any blue spoilers rolling. So our emergency descent is as good as we got here. Let's go ahead and hit magic bell. Ref key 3012 is set. Clear air, status, I'm aware, status, clear status. I'm going to bring up the pressurization again. And again, we're waiting for less than 1 psi. So we're in emergency descent out of 5,000, 15 for 10. And we're headed direct to Bossy for the approach. That actually worked out pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty poo-poo setup of failures there, because you can't, your descent is going to be restricted because you've had the electrical, and you might not think initially that, oh, I just lost the AC Essential or the AC Bus 1, but then now we lose the blue hydraulic, so it will affect your descent. Throw the gear not required. I mean, we're doing 5,000 feet a minute. Wingnut, how long do the passengers have on the chemical oxygen generators? Wingnut, you should know this. We're doing an open descent, 4,500 feet per minute. He's driving from 34D. Wingnut, he's all the way back here. Where's row 34? That's 24. He's going to be in the aisle seat of 34. Oh my gosh, he's legit last row. Here's Wingnut. He's like, let me off this damn thing, boy. Let me out of here. Just turned into 88-year-old redneck. All right. There's 10,000 feet. Let's stow the spoilers. What's our diff pressure? We're 3.4. We can continue our descent. Let's make it 8,000. We're emergency aircraft. We can continue above 250, below 10. All the way down. Dallas DFW traffic, American 357. We're 41 miles to the northeast, inbound for a straight in 17 center out of 9,000 feet. Dallas traffic. Can't declare an emergency without a controller online. But can I declare pan, pan, pan? All right, so what's the reason? What's the reason we want to open the ram air valve, chat? What is the reason we want to open ram air? Ram air push button right there on the overhead. Why do we want to do that? We'll clear it out. Go back to my pressurization page here. Or 2.6. Use my N1's manual thrust. Because our master said so. That's a good answer. But really, both packs are out, right? So if both packs are off, the cabin is not, the cabin and the avionics are actually not getting any ventilation right now. So we need to open up the ram air valve, or the ram air, or hit the ram air push button, which will open up the ram air, which is going to be, should be right there, I think, right? Let me go in here, find it out. That's a cool view. I gotta be careful not to stall it. I have manual thrust. Where's the ram air? I want to say it's right here, maybe? No, that's high pressure air. I'm sure we'll see it when we hit the switch. All right, we're at 8,000. Let's go back to pressurization. When less than 1 psi, we're 2.9. It's still coming down. What you could do here is we could go mode select manual. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go down. I want to go down. I'm going to descend the cabin faster. Let's go to pressurization. Now you'll feel it. No, I was right. Oh shoot, we're gonna submarine. We're gonna submarine. Too far, too far. This isn't part of the procedure. I'm just trying to expedite this here. Send to 5. I need to increase vertical speed. So I need to get that diff down. That's not right, because now we're climbing the cabin. No, that's right, I guess. You wouldn't do this unless directed to by an ECAM. I'm just trying to get the diff down so I can open the valve, and then we'll depressurize completely. Getting the bends? Oh yeah, you'd all be feeling it pretty good. All right. There's our Delta P 1.5. There's out star. I'm going to keep the thrust levers idle. We'll do a couple other things here. We're going to go perf. We're going to activate, confirm the approach phase. I'm going to manage speed target. Remember, I have the thrust levers, though. I keep clicking that. All right, 1.2. Let's say it's below 1. Let's go ram air, push button. All open. Ram air is coming open. It's got to get below 1, I guess. 1.1. I'm going to start slowing down here. We'll put you back into auto. Is there no... Yeah, ram air on. There it is. Ram air is on. I guess there is no actual... I guess it just opens up inside the inlet valve, or inlets there in the packs, I guess. Or is that it? I thought it was scooped down. Either way. That's right, we're an emergency aircraft, Romero, so we're good to slow. We're good below 10,000. All right, but now we're actually going to land it. So let's arm the approach. Cat 2, autopilot 1+2, getting tight. VLS flaps 1. Sometimes you just got to do that, especially in a 321. We are going to be overweight. Clear status. I'm aware of all the situations. We have no packs. We're ram air open. We're ventilated. We're slowing down. Our VAP is 149. Gross weight is 176. So we're 6,000 above this landing weight. We're way above the landing weight on the Fenix variant of 321 as well. So we are really heavy on this landing. But considering the circumstances, we've had electrical failure, and with our dual pack out and ram air open, we're just going to go ahead and do an overweight landing. No, the RAT does not have an airspeed limitation other than below, what, 60 knots, 70 knots? You're not going to get any, it can't spin anymore, right? Won't spin fast enough. Power, power, power. I guess we go flaps 3. Flaps 3. Oh, we're in a 321. That's on me. That's on me. Yeah, 140 is for approach diabetic lad, but it'll actually, from talking to guys who actually flew with the RAT out, they said they had everything till they slowed down below about 80 knots on the runway. It's a real life application. But yeah, that's why your approach speed is ramped up, diabetic lad. That's why when if you do a RAT out landing, you'll actually select flaps 3 to keep your speed up. So that's a good point to bring up. But yes, in all practicality, it will actually produce electrical, at least, much slower than that. All right, there's the low. Airport's in sight. We'll send crash, fire, and rescue. We'll get flight recorder ready. Now, theoretically, landing should be pretty similar. We do have blue hydraulic out, so it may be a little bit sluggish. That'll be my excuse for my hard landing. It'll be, we had blue hydraulic out. There's glide slope star, go around altitude. We're just going to set 3,000, even though we're not going around. We're 2,000 feet. We're below 180. We're fine. We don't need to do any more configuration changes. I wanted to check something. I forgot what I was going to look at there. Oh, well. Oh, yeah. I wanted to look at hydraulics real quick. Or flight controls. Yeah, my elevator only has one hydraulic system, so that's why our landing wasn't so good. All right, let's enjoy this. This ought to be interesting. More flaps 2, 180 on the speed. We're looking good, chat. Oh, that's a cool shot right there. Let's get the lights on too. Are the integral lights out because of the electrical configuration? Do you notice that? Like the overhead lights don't work. That's tied to the, I guess it's tied to that bus. That's pretty cool. These integral lights work. No, they don't. Or do they? Yeah, they do. These do. Very cool. Learned something new. No, I don't even have G's installed, unfortunately. Blue hides are out. Alright. Not flying PSA anymore. Gonna try Spirit next time. Probably a wise choice. Recording. Yeah, I'll start it right now. Sure. Recording is on. Let's bring the power back. Let's go gear down. Remember, flaps and slats are going to be slow too, so we should configure early. Or slats will be, rather. Slats slow, I think, right? It's slats slow. Flaps 3. DFW traffic, American 357. We're on a 10-mile final, 17 center, DFW. Flaps full. I wanted to see the... Yeah, the slats are going to move in slow. Yeah, look how slow the slats are. Slats slow with blue. All right. We're on speed. We're on slope. We are configured. Flaps full. Gear down. Auto brakes. We won't use... Let's use low. It didn't say we can't use auto brakes, so auto brakes are low. All right, here we go. Remember, we're using N1 mode. Isn't this the runway with the invisible wall? Gosh, I hope not, Team Vodka. I really hope there's no wall here. All right, we're going to hand flyer all the way in. Autopilot is off. Manual thrust. Rated N1 mode. Arm the spoilers, please. Crosswind from the left. Man, I feel like I'm just in the sim. Can somebody please do DFW? Orbix. Any build. Someone do DFW and the surrounding areas. We need an Orbix DFW mesh. .17 left is messed up. Okay, we're on 17 center. Should have went to San Antonio. Motion's coming on. Awesome pilot on. 4 years in with no handcrafted DFW is a crime. Andre, I agree, man. I don't know why we don't even have bad freeware like A-Rod said. Like, does nobody like DFW? It's right in the middle of the country. It's a hub for American. I mean, I feel like it should be right up on the priority list, but guess not. All right, so here we go. We're talking about energy management.
1,000.
Look at my speed, look at my sync rate. So right now that's telling me in 2D world that I am actually flying in some gusty conditions here. Or at least the airplane is feeling some gusty conditions. Which would also match up with why our wind on the PFD is also going bananas. I probably should have had turbulence down to low. I think turbulence is still unrealistic. Which for the Fenix is kind of sketchy, but we'll do our best here. Got a perfect pitch, about 2 degrees nose up, looking good. 1.5, 2, looking good, man. Little extra juice here.
With traffic, American 714, just advising we are made aircraft. We have yellow hydraulic failure. We're going to be stopping here on the runway, and we're going to be sticking there for runway 17, American 17.
Can't declare an emergency without a controller on.
100.
Hey, I'm just letting you know.
Alright, mark her down. Oh my gosh, this runway's so ugly.
30, 20, retard.
This runway's so ugly. I floated it out because it's so ugly.
5.
Just gotta set her down there. I overflared because I was shocked how ugly the scenery is. Reverse green on 1. I don't think we have... No, because blue... Hold on. Yeah, we don't have an engine 1 reverser. Hey, now we got some centerline lights. 70 knots, manual brakes. Let's go ahead and clear. Yeah, that was almost a perfect landing, but I overflared because I was shocked at how ugly the scenery was. Oh my word. We're not even going to go to the gate, chat. We're just going to pull off and stop. I'm okay if we never land here again. You and me both. Amazing scenery. I can't. Alright. We're down. DFW Traffic American 357. We're clear of 17 center. Alright. Look at that. That's actually pretty nice. We'll go ahead and stow the spoilers that we have available. Alright. We got one guy landing. Let's see this landing real quick. And then we're just going to disconnect from this monstrosity of scenery. Oh, there's a couple guys on final. He has some type of failure too, doesn't he? Just in time for the landing. Fly to live, what's up, man? Oh, he's way out there. He's way out there. What time is it? 2:30? Oh, dude, he's going to take 15 minutes before he lands. All right, let's watch our replay. You really feel there at this airport. This airport's so bad, we're not even going to go into, we're not even going to taxi the gate. I just can't. I can't. Let's watch that replay, though. So, replay is on. Disconnect from my Veo Premium.
Speed.
Resume. I'm going to let it do its thing here for a second. Park brake is off. Yeah, that's Lake Grapevine. There you go. Catching my smallmouth in there. I chose to not land at airports I don't have seen before. Performance preference for aircraft, and honestly, this is yeah, Dylan. The only reason we diverted here is because I didn't want to fly for 2 more hours to Las Vegas. Probably should have went to San Antonio, but here's what it is. P3D V4, my 15-year-old laptop looks better than this DFW. I know it, man. I know it. Yeah, I gotta turn off the cabin lights. I wish that was off by default. Phoenix. Panel, no. Sim settings. Cabin lights off. Thank you. Yeah, I saw any builds as a San Antonio. I should have bought it for the stream and gone there. Let's see how we landed, though. Let's critique our experience. We're definitely dealing with some shifty winds, nothing crazy. Pretty solid approach. On speed.
100.
Wind back the time just a few minutes. And then I saw how ugly it was. I got scared. That's actually pretty firm when I think about it. Just had to set it down. Sometimes that happens, chat. Sometimes that happens. Watch this. This was literally what happens when you get scared. Do we not have landing lights? We don't, because of our electrical failure. We do not, because of the electrical failure that we're in. Look at that. We only have a taxi light, I guess. Scared of the runway. It's pretty ugly. When that happens, guess what? That's high energy, right? I'm high energy, a little bit of an overflare. What's the airplane going to do? It's going to float, just like it would in real life. Here's the thing, though. Now you're forced with 2 options. Do you float it out and risk being illegal for a soft landing, or do you just have to eat it and set it down? Real life, you just have to eat it and set it down. And that's what this is right here. Oh, yeah, that's firm. That's a wingnut landing right there. But I also only have half my aileron, so... or elevator. I kind of want to try it again just to see. I feel like I'm having a Mark 1 eyeball failure. I know. It's ugly. It's ugly. What would happen if you were illegal in real life? Well, then you get a you're gonna get a call from FOQA. They're gonna come and say, "What you doing, man? Why'd you land outside touchdown zone?" Yeah, look at my speed.
100.
High energy. See, I'm actually above ref. A little high on the energy. So what happens when you're high energy and you flare? There we go. Now she's going to come down. Now guess what? I'm below ref, and it's just going to sit down because you got nothing else left. Look, you'll notice my pitch attitude, though. My pitch never gets above 5 degrees. Okay? Don't try to save it there. You can't try to save it there. You have to just take what you get. So I'm above my ref speed. I'm too fast. Okay? Too much energy in the flare. Well, now it's going to bleed off because I paused it. So now that energy is going to cause me to stay level, and now I'm below ref. So now it's just going to come out of the out of the sky. That's how she does. Just for sim purposes. Let's wind it back.
Too low terrain.
Let's let it catch up to speed here. Stop replay. I have control. Flight director's off. Give me the bird. Let's try it again. See if I can do better than that. Is there someone out there whose job is watching for illegal landings on every arrival? Yes, it's called FOQA. Gatekeeper. A gatekeeper. What is this airport? You don't want to know. DFW. I don't know why we got a jip whiz going on. It might just have something to do with the replay. All right, let's see if we can do better than that. Wow, see, we got a big increase of performance there. Now we're coming out the back side. Look at that sink rate. Let's see if we can lock it in here. This freeway. I gotta stop reading the chat while I'm trying to land. Stop distracting me. Keep driving it down. Keep driving it down. There you go. Work it out.
20. Retard.
Oh yeah, that's the butter. Right there. That is the butter right there. Yeah, see, we greased that one. I wasn't recording that one, but just had to double check it. All right. What is this, some FSX scenery? Move to X-Plane. I should. I really should, AJ. My word. If I didn't have to reinstall it, AJ, I tell you what though, dude. If that 707 can post some juicy wing views, I might reinstall X-Plane just for the wing views for that 707. All right, we got one butter on a mulligan try there, but either way, take that landing as an example of real life behavior of the airplane. If you get a balloon, that wasn't even a balloon. It was just we leveled. We had to level in the flare instead of continuing that descent rate. So you're left with two options: set it down or go around. I chose to set it down because we're an emergency airplane. So it just happens. It happens in a 321. You got to manage that energy properly. That wasn't the best energy management. The second one was much better. But again, if that happens to you, don't feel bad. So. Thanks again, AJ, for the super chats. Thank you all. Thank you, Unfathomable. Super chat, $5 super chat as well. I never saw that. What happened there? You chatted $5 super chat, leaving a CEO into a NEO. What are some differences? There's not a whole lot, Unfathomable, from CEO NEO other than engines. So engine differences and some weight differences. That's really the only thing different about the NEO and the CEO. A couple other pneumatic things that are under the skin, but it's pretty much a seamless transition back and forth. Sometimes I don't even know I'm in a NEO until we go to take off and I look at the EPR and it's N1, so we're in a NEO. All right. Thank you again. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one. I don't know. I want to do a Boeing stream. I'll have to see what's next. I might put a poll out there to the members, see what we do next. I do want to do a lightweight 321 takeoff comparison, so maybe we'll do that on the next one. All right, guys. Enjoy the FSX arrival. Until the next one, stay safe, stay healthy on V1.